Hello, eRank. Welcome to another live Thursday Q&A with me, Pam Duffy, her, Starla Moore. Yeah, this is your time and place to get all your Etsy and eRank related questions in. I hope we're live just now. I'm not seeing anything yet.
It's shown on Facebook, or not Facebook, on YouTube.
Yeah, you had me scared saying Facebook. I haven't figured out how to stream to Facebook at the same time here. Oh yeah, cool. It just came up. I was just leaving the intro going too long. I thought, no, we've got to go.
All right, guys. We have 4 early bird questions to get through that were posted over in the eRank Facebook group. If you ever want your questions answered and you're not able to make it to the live stream, make sure that you look for that post on Wednesdays up at the top of the eRank group. That way you can get those questions in early. So we'll go ahead and get through those, and then we will pop into the questions from the YouTube chat. So if you're here, be sure to get your questions in. That way Pam and I don't have to attempt to entertain you for an hour.
I know Starla has been practicing juggling, so you never know.
Yeah, and Pam, she's got her opera singing down, so
Yeah, you
we'll
don't want that. Ask us loads of questions, guys. You don't want that.
all right, so we will pop in and grab Anna's question from the Facebook group. She said, I know that new listings get a boost, but I've also heard people talking about a new shop boost. Does this exist? I've been hearing this one a lot too lately, Pam. This is the latest in the Etsy myth circle.
Yeah,
Nowhere in
I
Etsy's.
believe Etsy did tell us that a new shop, because same as a new
Uh,
listing, it doesn't have the shop quality score. But I'll have to go and check the articles again. But I'm pretty sure it's a yes, but it's not a yes in that you need to go out and get a new shop. Like if your
right.
shop's not working, it's just a wee thing that Etsy doesn't know what your shop's all about. So just like a new listing, you get a bit of a boost, but you also don't have any of that positive history. So a new shop's got nothing else going for it.
Right. I think it's more of like a neutral standing as opposed to, because I've heard the same thing, and it's a lot of the sellers are like, well, I had a shop and, I let it sit dormant for a few years and now I'm ready to sell again. Should I make a new shop or should I start over? Honestly, right now is the worst time, I think, to decide to do something like that, just because so many new shops get deactivated right away. And while you can get that shop recovered, by emailing Etsy, it's a game of back and forth. You don't know when you're going to hear from them. There's been plenty of sellers who have had their shops, shut down right after opening and weren't given a reason as to why. And Etsy has basically said, you can't sell on Etsy, even though they haven't listed anything. So I think that there's a lot of automation going on over at Etsy. Yeah. I,
Yeah.
I, if you find that article, can you, because when somebody said that, I sifted through everything in the Ultimate Guide to Search and could not find anything on new shops, only new listings. Um,
Yeah, I
so
vaguely remember in my head reading it, but I'll have to. I can't say for sure, but definitely, like you say, it's kind of too risky. And also bear in mind with an older shop, you've got things like if you've built up any social media, Google's had a time to index you. I don't know 100% how long that takes, but Google does seem to like to take a wee minute before it notices something. So, there's a lot of benefits to having an established shop as well.
yeah, yeah. It's if it's true, I assume that it was just a myth where someone had confused the new listing boost. Um, because, when there's thousands of people out there teaching Etsy material, things get misconstrued. Um, if we find it, we'll let you guys know. I looked for it for a while and ended up giving up. But regardless, if it turns out to be true, it's nothing actionable. There's nothing that you're going to be able to take from knowing it and do anything with that information. Does that make sense?
And no, absolutely. I think if I vaguely remember reading it, if I find it and if it is a thing, it was just Etsy like reassuring brand new sellers that they weren't totally
At the
lost. But
bottom.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, like you say, even if there is nothing, a sort of being neutral's a bit better than the shops that have open cases and tons of bad reviews. But at the same time, if you're sitting with a shop like that, you're probably better to fix it because Etsy is going to connect up your two shops anyway. So if it shut down your one shop for not being very good, then your other shop's in danger anyway. So yeah. I don't
All
think there's
right.
anything, apart from getting your shop shut down, I don't think there's anything you can do that can kind of kill your shop. You can always recover a shop.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people worry that Etsy shoppers are not going to buy from you if they see like how long your shop has been opened. First of all, you got to scroll all the way down to the bottom of your shop by your about section to even see when you opened anymore. They've moved it down the page. Second, we actually run surveys through eRank, and those surveys are sent to Etsy shoppers while they're shopping. It's not sellers, it's actually going to shoppers. And one of the questions that we ask is how important is the age of a shop? Or does it influence your decision to purchase? And I can't remember what our most recent survey was because we just ran one. But I do
It
know
was
that,
everything was very similar, really.
yeah, people don't seem to care how long you've been open. They care about things like good reviews, quality products, um, and the obvious things that we all care about. So, okay, Christy had asked if I use tags, lined notepad, and memo pad gift, would my listing show up in a search for lined memo pad? So you would broad match. It's possible. I wouldn't think that for a term like that, because that term I'm sure is highly saturated, you're probably not going to be popping up on the top of search pages. But you could always check in the rank checker tool to get a decent average of where you might be ranking for a term like that before personalization is applied.
Yeah, we've actually had in the Facebook group a lot of questions about tags and keywords this week. It's been really good. Um, but I think for everyone that's new, there's like exact match and broad match. So Starla just mentioned broad match. So an exact match in that question, I think Christy said lined notepad and memo pad gift. If you have those as your tags, they're an exact match. So if someone searches for that, then Etsy will say, oh, Christie's listing's very relevant for that because it's an exact match. Whereas a broad match is like the lined memo pad, all the words are split across a couple of tags, so it's not quite as relevant. So I think we would generally always advise basically look at what your most important superstar keywords are, the ones that are the most important to rank for, and have them as an exact match. And then the broad matches are for things that maybe you've got another load of listings that you've aimed for that keyword with. It's just an extra in this listing. Or it's keywords that you're just like, nah, I don't even know if that's a keyword. Like we talk about gift for mum, gift for sister, gift for dad, gift for aunt. I know gift for mum or gift for her is those are big keywords. Probably not good ones for most of us to aim for because they're so broad and competitive. But if it was working for you, you might say, hey, I wonder if all these other feminine names also work with the gift for. So you might put a tag that's aunt, sister, grandmother or something, just to hope that it broad matches for the thing. And if that turns out to be a search term at any point, Etsy will mix it up. Um, so the answer is yes, it works, but I wouldn't do that if it's your most superstar important keyword. But
Yeah,
She
exact
got
matching is trying to tell Etsy, if someone's searching for this thing, I have exactly what they're looking for versus I might have what they're looking for.
But that being said, you could find that if your listing is really amazing, those random broad matches, you might actually end up starting to rank really high for because your listing just gets a really good listing quality score. So don't look at like your competitors and go, that's not fair, they're ranking higher than me. They might just have an awesome listing. So there's a whole load of things that go into why you're ranking, and what you've put in your tag is just a part of it.
All right. Anne Marie had asked, when I leave town and I'm not able to ship things out, I never put my shop on vacation mode. Why would I? I recently received 8 or 9 sales in the past 6 days. However, being that I don't want to be late in shipping, I let customers know that I'm gone and will ship upon my return. I put in a fake tracking number and mark it as complete. I explain that it will say shipped, but that it will not be shipped until I return home. This works as far as my customers go and they're fine with it, but does Etsy know it's a fake number? Am I doing something horribly wrong that it would affect my good standing with Etsy? Is there a better way to do this? Okay, so first of all, anything that you're doing where you're putting in anything fake, and if it sounds like you're doing something wrong, you're probably doing something wrong. I don't know if Etsy can find out. Is it worth potentially getting in trouble for? That's what I would say. And you've not had a customer upset yet. Um, why not extend out your shipping time instead? Extend out your shipping time. Then customers will know when they place the order how long it's going to take. You can change it back right when you return. Etsy will know exactly when those orders are supposed to ship. Don't do things that are dishonest. And I understand you already communicate with your customers, but it's not how your things like marking orders as complete. It's not how it's supposed to be done. I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Yeah, very much. I believe Etsy say don't mark an order complete till it's in the post office, basically. They don't even like people marking it complete and then taking it to the post office the next day. So
Yeah.
while I haven't heard of anyone getting in trouble for that, at the same time, Etsy isn't going to like it. And will they know it's a fake tracking number? Yep, because they can't track it.
Yeah, it's easy enough to
Basically.
find out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And as Starla said, if I was a customer and someone contacted me and said, hey, I'm on holiday, I'm going to mark this as complete, but it's not shipped yet, I won't ship it for a week or so, I wouldn't like that. I might say
I'd
I'm
be
okay with
suspicious.
that. Hmm. And it takes away all the protection, well, from you and the customer. The customer can start opening cases if they want, because Etsy, regardless of what you tell the customer, Etsy's going to start communicating with the customer that, hey, that your item should be with you. Why don't you leave a review? And they're like, well, I can't leave a review. She hasn't even shipped it yet.
Yeah. And if you're, I mean, it complicates a lot of things because, I mean, if you offer any type of returns, it can mess with, your return time frame, your review time frames. Um, yeah, I would say extend out your shipping times and don't use any of Etsy's features in a way that is dishonest because you never know. If for some reason a customer didn't like it, which I wouldn't, I would be really ticked off. You wouldn't want that customer to, report you to Etsy and end up in big trouble.
Exactly. And changing your shipping times should be nice and easy. I've done it a ton of times.
Yeah.
It's it makes everybody happy.
Yeah. All right. Last question from the group, and then we'll get to the questions from the chat. Thank you for everybody who submitted them. I can see them. But Jill in the group, she said, I'm not new to Etsy, but I'm new to learning how to do SEO correctly, and I'm struggling. If I'm not to repeat words and tags and titles, and I'm encouraged to use up all the space in my tags. Some of the tags look weird with just random words grouped together. When I do analyze listings, half of my tags show no searches, etc., as they're just groups of words taking up 20 characters. Okay, so let's stop right there. You can jumble those words up because all of those little words contained within those tags, Etsy can read them all together in every combination. So it's totally okay to put those jumbled words. If you've got one of your tags as gifts for mom, it's okay to add a tag that's like grandma, aunt, or sister, brother. It's okay to do that because Etsy will broad match gifts for aunt, gifts for sister, gifts for, you know, blue gifts for sister. All of those words are going to be broad matched. Was there another part to
Yeah,
that
and
question?
I'd say you're talking about when you analyze your listing with the listing audit tool in eRank and saying half your tags show as no search. This is that's because they're tags. We just give in the search volume because it's handy to have. But if you know that that nonsense tag is to broad match for a different keyword, then ignore that and just go into the keyword tool and search there for it, or you can put those tags. Yeah, even free accounts have a listing. What's the what's the tool I'm talking about now? um Listing builder, listing the I've forgotten what eRank tools are now. The one where you save all your keywords. Keyword list, there we go.
Yeah. What I
It's
was
one of
like,
these.
wait a minute, the monitor tool?
No, I've been up from really early, so forgive me, guys. Yeah, so keyword lists. Save all. If you know you're doing a jumble of keyword, you're doing a jumble of words to make up to a decent keyword. Save all those keywords in your keyword list, and then you're able to see like the search volume and everything when you click on it and have a look. This is the thing with a listing audit. It's an awesome tool, but it's for us to look at, and we know why we did a certain thing. So if it's saying something, but you know you've done that for a reason, for instance, it's jumbled up keywords for a broad match, then you can say, right, totally understand why I used that tag. I can ignore that bit. Anything in the listing audit, it's not to say this is what you need to do. It's to say, this is kind of a good practice. Have you got a reason why you're not doing it this way? And I'd look at it more like that.
Yeah. All right. So bumping over to the YouTube chat. Thank you guys for being so patient. The Source Matters had asked any trending alerts or updates we should know. Trends, I mean, go check the trend buzz. You guys can check it just as quick as we can. Every 30 days there's a whole new list of trends in there. Sometimes, if something's remaining consistent, we'll see that, but I dare say that we're going to start seeing some nice searches for some specific Christmassy type products. I'm seeing a lot of sellers talking about things like ornaments are selling, but you guys got to do those deep dives.
Yep. Or you can let our Jan do them for you. Over at the blog, Jan has just
Oh
this month, she's done the Etsy, the trending keywords on Etsy for, well, last month, because we're always a month. She's also done the trending keywords for eBay and the trending keywords for Amazon. I am slowly trying to put them into this YouTube channel, but you have no idea how long it takes to do all those videos. So I can only imagine how long it takes for her to actually do all the research. But it's in the blog, so check that out. One wee sneak thing you can look into. This is a sneaky thing that I've noticed, because we've noticed some of the things what were trending for Halloween were the things that Etsy put up in the Halloween shop. So people would go to the Halloween shop and it was tees and sweatshirts or something like that. And people were going there and then they're like, hang on, I'm really into that. So they were actually interested in, and the click-through rate and everything on the things that people found from that search page is really surprisingly high for something they didn't quite type in. So I've noticed that the Etsy's put up the Christmas shop, so you can see the keywords that Etsy are pushing for Christmas. So that might be a little sneaky way to have a look at what might be trending, because Etsy can make the trends on Etsy, basically.
Yeah. Um, I will say, in terms of trends that are kind of, you know, getting exciting out of nowhere, I have been noticing in stores, and I don't know what it's like over there, Pam, but all of our stores are full of capybara themed stuff for
Oh
Christmas.
wow,
Capybaras.
that's the animal.
Yeah. And I just popped it into eRank just to see. The search volumes aren't, insanely high in September, but the competition is so low. So capybaras, maybe Christmas capybaras, if you guys are still developing products. Capybaras are I think it was llamas for a while, it was sloths. I'm also seeing in a lot of stores dinosaurs with like Christmas hats and scarves on. So might be
Yeah,
something to look into.
dinosaurs are still about. What's around here just now, and has been for about 3 years, is still the gnomes or the tomties.
Yeah,
That is,
gnomes are big here too.
yep. I mean, the competition will be good, big because it's been around a few years, but they're also really easy to do and fun and cute.
Yeah, I try to look for, like capybaras. I see them in stores and the searches aren't super high on Etsy yet, but that's a good sign because as people see them in stores more and more, like, oh, what is this animal? And then they start seeing, YouTube videos and cute little videos on TikTok about capybaras. And then they're like, oh, wow. And then that new animal becomes top of mind to them. So
Absolutely.
if you make a product that you could tie capybaras in, I would, maybe keep your eye out because just because the searches aren't high right now, I mean, the competition is really low. If you were to add those products in and the searches were to shoot up tomorrow and the competition was really low when you listed, I mean, that could be a really great opportunity. So, oh no, Pam's typing.
I know, sorry you could hear that. I just, because I've seen what I've been seeing, oh, maybe going around the shops here. So I'm just stealing Starla's idea. And I just had a look. Because what I'm seeing in all the shops just now that I haven't heard Etsy talk about yet, and the competition is pretty low, is sweater dresses. If anyone does clothes,
Yeah.
oversized sweater dresses are everywhere just now.
Yeah, I just went shopping for a dress yesterday and it was hard to find a dress that wasn't just a big sweater dress. So,
Yep. Well, they don't have much search on Etsy just now. Well, 2,500 is actually pretty good, but the competition's pretty good. So, yeah, for all you knitters, there you go.
maybe you could knit sweaters for little capybaras and then you would.
Capybaras, yeah, capybara sweater dresses. They could be the most fashionable little capybaras out there.
All right, Tabitha, I hope you're still here. Is it better to take all your keywords and use as a phrase or use as phrases, or could you remove every repeat word? So for the words like Pam talked about, the superstar keywords that you really want to be known for, it's best to try to keep those together. That, keeping them intact, keeping them all right next to each other. That way you get those exact matches for customers who are searching for that exact thing. For example, I've got capybara open on, in eRank right now, and I see that capybara shirt is 1,360 searches and only like 3,000 competition. I would want to have capybara shirt exactly as is. I wouldn't want to split that up in any way because that seems like a really great sweet spot. However, maybe there's also, maybe I also would like to have animal shirt. Well, animal shirt, that one's going to be kind of hard to rank for. It's not one that I really care about as much. So maybe I don't put in animal shirt. Maybe I change it up and do animal gifts. because I'll still broad match for animal shirt. So when possible, try to not repeat words unless you find one of those amazing keyword sweet spots where you want to exact match.
Yeah, exactly. There's no that this was a myth going around for ages that Etsy penalized you for using the word more than once. It
Yeah.
doesn't penalize you. It's just reduces the amount of space you have. But I also know a lot of people struggle to use up all of their 13 keywords. So, it's much better just to make the listing, put in a keyword phrase that maybe has a word that repeats a couple of times and get the listing listed than spend an extra couple of days searching for extra keywords.
Yeah. Oh, and Anna had said, red panda plush, 3,000 searches last November, only 333 competition. Oh, but click-through rate of under 20. Just because click-through rate's low doesn't, I mean, that just means that, maybe people weren't satisfied with what they saw. If you created a red panda plush that was better than what everybody else offers, you could be the exception to the rule.
Oh, absolutely.
And
If it's something that's easy to make and you can make it really cute, you got the chance of doing really well on Etsy, but also that's something visual that could be cute on social media too. So,
yeah.
yeah, I always take a risk on things that aren't necessarily trending. I sort of saw mermaids were heading up a little bit in popularity again. So I've made a Selkie, which isn't a mermaid, it's a Scottish sea woman. So,
It's a scary mermaid.
a scary mermaid, yes. Oh, the whole history behind it's terrifying, really.
Let's see. Chad had said a lot to ask, but could you add filtering keywords/tags by competition? You mean by competition levels? You can do that in the keyword tool, unless I'm misunderstanding your question. Scroll down after you enter a term into the keyword tool into the related searches box. And under the Etsy competition column, there are two little arrows. Click those and you can filter based on that competition level.
Yeah, most of our tools, if you look at the top of the chart, you can usually click on the top and filter by any of those metrics pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You can
think
do it
the
by
only
searches, click-through rate.
place you wouldn't is like the trend buzz or something, but because we don't have competition in the trend buzz.
Yeah. But you could easily find a term in the trend buzz and click it and then have it take you to the keyword tool and find, searches related to that particular thing. I don't think that trying to sift by competition levels in the trend buzz would be a good idea anyway, because most of the terms that are in the trend buzz are going to be highly competitive.
Absolutely. The only ones that are unlikely to be are the ones that are just very new, and you'll see that by the trend graph. If it's just appeared out of nowhere, it's maybe worth clicking on them to go to the keyword tool to see, hey, has this got low competition? Is this looking good?
Yeah. Okay. System. Is there an eRank section, or you can see daily sales overall daily on Etsy?
Do you mean
Daily
the
sales.
daily sales for the entire platform of Etsy? Because you can see individual competitions daily sales if you add them to your competition, but for the whole of Etsy, not currently. Um,
Interesting. Sounds like a lot of data that would make eRank really slow.
I sort of asked Anthony for something similar a couple of days ago, so he's
What do you
thinking
say?
about it, but not an entire, not quite like that, because Etsy would probably hate us if we did that, but something. Because I
Yeah,
can totally see it would be helpful where you feel your sales are down and we keep saying, oh, it's just Etsy. It would be nice to be able to look and see, well, it is just Etsy just now.
Yeah, they said all sales in a day for the whole of Etsy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't get it exactly, but it is a good thought. I don't know if we're about to have something like that, but if we can, we will.
Yeah, they said as you guys have access to data, would just be grouping it into one report. We don't have access. I mean, we have access to that would be from Etsy's API data. And I don't even know if that's publicly available in Etsy's API data. It would have to be data that Etsy would allow us to have.
Yeah, I think that was the point that Anthony made, is like he's going to ask permission. So yeah, we do have access to all sorts of data, but we also have rules on how we're allowed to use the data, basically.
Yeah, we're able to make the tool. We can make anything. It's just, are we allowed to? And if the answer is no, for example, that's why we don't have the bad buyer check anymore. Etsy's like, nope, you may not have that data.
Yeah.
So bad buyer check, the Karen check tool, all of those tools went away, and anybody who had something similar, but yeah, good idea. But we'll see. All
Yeah.
right. Jill had asked, do either of you offer a service where we can be connected and seeing the same screen and actually do one-on-one title and keywords and eRank together? No, because Pam and I are very busy people. However, we both have videos. I know that I have videos on my channel where I keyword optimize listings, and I'm going to be doing another one for my upcoming winter collection. Pam, do you have videos on your channel where you like step-by-step optimize listings?
I have, but I think they're pretty old. There's a good idea for me to do one again. Yeah, what
I
I'll
know I
probably do is I'll ask on my YouTube community. So if you're not following me, Pam Duffy, and she's Starla Moore, um, in my YouTube community, I might ask sort of a category or an idea of what listing you want optimized. Not a personal listing, but a fake type of listing, and I'll do some of them. Oh, it's so long ago since I've done that.
Yeah, I know that I have one somewhere where I did like a full walkthrough of how I personally optimize a listing. Um, I'll take a peek while I'll give Pam another question, and then I will see if I can find it, because it's been a
Yeah.
while. But I did something similar where I sat and optimized one.
We do have in this channel not that long ago, although it will look slightly different because the keyword tools changed slightly, but the data's still the same. We do have some videos here on how to do titles, how to do tags and stuff using eRank, so hopefully that would help. Um, yeah, but yes, one-on-one, that kind of level of coaching is really, really, really too much, because when you do it, everybody wants it.
yeah, we can give general examples though. So yeah, I'll have to keep looking. Okay. Magnificent. Like magnet.
Cool.
That's cute. If I put ornament for sister, should the tag be for sister daughter or for sister for daughter?
If you're doing a
For
jumble up keyword, then for sister daughter is fine. You don't need to say for twice in the same tag.
yeah, you don't need to repeat it. That was easy enough. Let's see. Okay. Edgar, can you explain the difference in goals when you're doing advertisement? So, like, do you mean Etsy ads?
Yeah, I think goals that would sound more like Google or Facebook ads or something, which I certainly can't give advice on.
No, not our realm of expertise. We're happy to answer questions about Etsy ads, though I think that our answers are always the same. You're either going to do well or You're not, because Etsy ads are ultimately like sitting down at the poker table and you're going to play poker, and you don't want to bet, you don't want to bet the whole house. You don't want to play until you're broke. You never know if you're going to win, and you never really know how much you're going to make back. But we always recommend that if you're not willing to gamble too much and you want a sure thing, stick to your products that are already selling. Stick to advertising your best sellers. A lot of people are like, oh, why would I advertise my best sellers if they're already being seen? Why wouldn't I advertise the things that aren't being seen? Well, it's not that those things aren't being seen. It might just be that nobody's interested in buying those things. So it's better to put your money behind the thing that people already have interest in, because then you're more likely to make a return on your investment.
Yeah, and although there's not much you can do with Etsy ads, they're still, don't just turn them on and forget about them. You want to go in and use the stats that you've got. And I don't think we've mentioned on this channel before, Etsy have done a newish thing in the Etsy ads. Any listings that you're advertising, if you haven't used all your tags, they are suggesting some tags. I would use whatever the data they're offering you there and take it to the eRank keyword tool to see how good of a suggestion they're making. But it's always a cool thing. I believe that's coming from their advertising data. So it might give you some ideas for extra tags. If you're making a listing, can't think of that 13th tag, you were going to advertise it anyway, stick it up there and then come back in a week or so and see what Etsy thinks your extra tag should be. Yeah, I forgot they did that.
All right, I popped that video into the chat. I finally found it. I knew it existed. Jill had said, I'm really looking for help with what I actually sell, PNG designs. You've got to be able to do the work yourself. And I know that really sucks, but everybody's going to have a different product, and everybody wants to see an example of their product. But when it comes to the strategy doesn't change. The foundation doesn't change. If you can learn the foundation, it doesn't matter what you sell. Think more about the type of person buying the product and what your specific design is and what it's for, as opposed to just trying to find as many ways as possible to describe a PNG. Who's it for? Is it for digital designers? Is it a PNG for invitations? Is it for children, for nurseries? Is it for business owners? Really break down the purpose of it, who could use it, the details of what it is, the overall style of what it is. If it's cute, kawaii, gothic. And then as you start doing that keyword research, it's a little bit easier to start narrowing down the good keywords that you might see success with. And then, even then, we could sit and optimize your listings to the best of our abilities. We could do it for you and hand those listings off to you, and they might not perform at all. Because for one, you know more about your target audience than we do. Nobody knows your target audience like you do, which is why I hate these services that you can pay to like optimize your listings for you. They don't know who your target audience is, and they don't know anything about your industry. And trends change. So what Pam and I might think will do well in your shop, it might not end up doing well at all. And there's no way to know without testing it for a period of a few months and keeping an eye on how those keywords do. And really, that's why some of these people, like on Fiverr, that's how they make their money, is they know that you're going to have to keep coming back over and over again. So that whole, give a man a fish, teach a man to fish thing, you kind of got to learn to fish. So I posted a live stream that I did. Oh God, it's been like a year. No, it's only 5 months. Okay.
Feels like a year.
It feels like a year, long year. It was 5 months ago, and I believe that I do some example listing optimization, and I just walk through the very long and messy process. And you'll see, because the video is like an hour and a half long, it takes a long time, and nobody is an expert at it. But the key thing to remember is that every time you optimize a listing, it's just an experiment. You optimize it, you let it sit, you see how it does. If the experiment, fails, okay, time to make some changes and revise our strategy.
That's it, exactly. I did a very long time ago, I did some one-to-ones and I learnt to hate them because of that very thing. I can give anyone some ideas of keywords, but I don't know if they'll work. And Starla's just opened a shop again. She's had shops. I've got a shop. I've had shops. We didn't do great by like hit the ground running with amazing keywords and no, I'm going to list this and it's going to do great. List it and then you come back and you assess what's happened and you see how this is done and you tweak your results based on that. Because every listing, every customer, every shop, every time of year is different. And even if today, for some magic reason, we were able to give you the perfect keywords that worked right now, in 3 months' time, you would be mad at us because they wouldn't be working anymore. It's not saying that you have to totally redo your shop every 3 months, but you need that skill level to be able to understand and dig in and look what's working, what's not working, why isn't it working, what isn't working. Is it because it's too competitive? Is it because my listing just doesn't fit into that niche? Millions of things, and it's much better as a skill that you learn and you build up, and hopefully we're here to help you with that. But yeah, unfortunately we can't guide you through it. I think you're saying you sell PNG designs. If I could find the perfect things that worked for PNG designs immediately right now, I would be design I would just open that shop right now, but I know that I couldn't. It's going to take a bit of work, so it has to be something that I absolutely love, that I want to do, that I'll take the time to do it. That's why I haven't got 200 shops open and and doing all that, because you've really got to focus down and learn about your niche.
Yeah. This is an interesting question. Could we have a short story of how optimizing SEO helped your shops? I mean, SEO is everything. It's the roadmap that
Hmm.
leads to your
I
listings.
Yeah, I can totally do that. I've done it in some of my videos in the past. I
Story
started on
time.
Etsy in 2000. Story time. Yeah, settle down. Now, I started Etsy in 2008. Things were very different then, like very different. Um, Basically, you had to list and relist your listing several times a day and post in the forums. That was about all you needed to do, and you got sales. It was a lot of work, but you got sales. Then in 2010, everything changed. Etsy changed. Like, see when people say the algorithms changed, that nothing compared to what happened in 2010. We went from recency, which is the newest listings that posted are going to be at the top of search. That's where you relist. That's all. Now we went to relevancy, which is this complicated algorithm. And yeah, my sales totally bombed. Absolutely, my sales went away overnight. Everything died. And I bubbled along for about 4 years, getting, my repeat customers coming back, but doing terrible. And in 2014, I was ready to quit. Like 100%, I was going to quit. I can't do this Etsy thing. And I decided, I think it was this September that year, I said to myself, okay, I'm going to get on the forums, I'm going to ask people, I'm going to learn about this SEO thing, and I'll give it to Christmas. So I did that. I got on the forums, I asked everybody everything I could. I found the tiny tools that existed at the time. I did everything I could. And from September till the end of the year, I made more sales in that period than I had done for the rest of the time. And I just kept on building on that, and up to from 2014 to 2020, every single year I did better. Then the pandemic happened, and we won't we won't talk about what's happening to my shop right now. But that's what and that was 100% SEO. My social media game is terrible. The Starla's good at that. I have no mailing list. Everything was SEO. So
Well,
there
to
we
be
go.
fair, Pam, if you didn't work for eRank and your shop was your number one gig and that's all you focused on, I think that you would be like kicking major butt. It's just you also have to help thousands and thousands and thousands of sellers.
Well, it's not even have to. I get bored really easily, so I have to. I could not just work on my shop and just like I make needle felted things. They take a really long time to make, so I could if I 100% focused on my shop, but I get really bored. So yeah, there's the bit of honest truth.
Here, I'll pop the source matter did ask for your shop link, so I'll pop that into the chat. So my story is very different. I started selling in 2012 after relevancy had already become a thing. However, when I started selling, I initially started selling through my Facebook page, and I was selling one of a kind jewelry at the time. And I started, people would share my jewelry, and I had big pages that would share my jewelry. I would message pages and ask them to share my jewelry. I would join Facebook groups, where people might be interested in it was very gothic, jewelry with dragons and things. So I would join fantasy groups. And I started growing my social media following, doing giveaways, follow my page to win, win this key. So I grew that way. And while I was listing those products on Etsy, I wasn't doing any SEO because I didn't know that SEO was a thing. I was calling my products like Dragon of Dreams Fantasy Key. Nobody was searching for that. Like nobody was searching for those keywords. But I was driving that traffic from social media. So people, they just knew if they found me on Facebook, back when Facebook, it was a lot easier to be found because every page that you liked showed up in your timeline and you could stay up to date with them. I funneled that traffic directly from social media. And then I started a Facebook group where I had all of my fans and they would all post pictures of their jewelry. And in time, I started learning what SEO was and that it was important. And because I had already made a decent amount of sales, Etsy already looked quite fondly upon my shop. I in all the years that I ran that shop, I never had a negative review ever. I only had 5-star reviews. So when I implemented SEO and when I started making repeatable products that I could create over and over again, those products began to skyrocket to the top of search pages because I was in a very niche industry. I picked my niche very well. I did fantasy themed skeleton key necklaces. So I was on page one multiple times for skeleton key necklace, dragon necklace. I think one Christmas I was able to get on page one for just the term couples set, which was awesome. Now I don't run that shop anymore because during the pandemic, Swarovski crystals stopped producing their stones to independent merchants. And I closed shop for a little while during the pandemic and then just decided that, working for eRank, doing YouTube, it was all a little too much to keep up with. So I switched to print on demand. And now I've just opened a brand new shop that only has like 8 sales because we only opened like 2 weeks ago. But with that in mind, my process is the exact same. I've picked a defined niche, which is bookish products related to, popular fantasy books. And before anybody, jumps on that, trend, we officially license with the authors to ensure that we're doing it legally, and we pay them a small commission in order to create the merch for them. Because there are very few people who are willing to go through the licensing process to work with these authors, it means that my competition is very, very low when I'm creating merchandise for specific books for those authors. So what I'm able to do is when an author that I like, writes a new book and people are interested in that brand new book that released, I make sure that I have pre-ordered that book. I am the first to read that book. I am the first to request licensing for that book. I go and I make those products and I get those products in the shop. That's our current strategy. So that it's not that we're even doing very much keyword research. It's that we're keeping an eye on what we know will trend. When it's a brand new book that has just come out, we know that within a few weeks of people finishing it, they're going to want to go buy the merch for it. We make sure that we make that merch before anybody else does. So right now we're working on a collection for Sarah Maas's Court of Thorns and Roses series, which is like #1 fantasy book in the world. But we just did a licensed series of stickers with Jennifer Armentrout of the From Blood and Ash series. And another cool thing is that her series was purchased by Amazon to be turned into a film adaptation, which means that as soon as like a TV show comes out for that, the popularity is going to shoot through the roof. People are going to be searching that series more than ever. We're officially licensed. So we're going to be one of those products that pops up on a search page. So it's all about being strategic. You know, this could be anything. We were just talking about capybaras being really popular. You could be the person who, like right now, we're not seeing a lot of searches, but we're seeing capybaras everywhere in stores. What if you were one of the first people to open a capybara shop? And you see, oh, people are kind of starting to search for capybara t-shirts and capybara prints and capybara stickers. Maybe I'll be the first person to list these particular products as this trend is on the rise. So identifying what's going to be popular and then making sure that you do your research and then creating products to fit that need. That's really what I would consider a good advanced SEO strategy to look like.
Yeah, I think you missed the one important point there, and that is like a niche, but loving your niche.
Oh
Because,
yeah.
yeah, you've lived both your niches. Like, you're joining the gothic jewelry stuff and everything because that's your life. And then these books, you're not reading these books because you want to do well with stickers. You were reading
Right.
these books and you made stuff because you love it. That's where you get in ahead of the trends. It's by like people will come to us all the time and say, what should I be selling? And that's the wrong way around. It's like, what do you love? I could tell you tomorrow that LARP, live action role play, makes loads of money, and it absolutely. I know people buy full custom made suits of armor. These cost more than houses. So live action role play niche makes tons of money, but they're buying from people who are larpers.
Yeah.
They buy from people who are in that thing. So your first place for your niche should be, what is it you love? What communities are you really active in? And that way, like Starla knows what the good books to look at are because she reads them. She is in the community. She loves these things. So yeah, that's why she's doing well.
Yeah. If you're miserable while you're creating the products, then that misery shines through your products and people aren't going to want to buy them because you're creating meh products. If you feel meh about the product while you're making it and you're just like, then the customers are going to look at it and be like, you have to really love what you do. So start with what you care about. And if you don't care about anything, get into something. It's a great excuse to find something that you love. I used to think that I didn't have time to read leisurely. And I started picking up some of these book talk trendy books and reading them. And I realized, wow, this is something that I could really get absorbed in. And I have. So
Oh, exactly. And I'm sure everybody has something. When you're on Facebook or the platform formerly known as Twitter or anything like that, what groups are you a part of? What are you seeing? What are you talking about? Even if it's, I don't know, you rant about political things or something, there's where your passion is, I guess. Find out what you can legally license or, do. But whatever it is, whatever you have that passion about, that's the super great place to start.
yeah, and pick good targets. I through this legal licensing process, I've had a lot of people say, "Well, I want to do Harry Potter. I want to do Lord of the Rings." You can't. Like
No.
those we are being strategic in getting those licensing deals before they get picked up by movies because we know like we'll be grandfathered in, and then when nobody else is allowed to license later down the line, we'll already have the licensing rights and we'll be some of the few. But aim for achievable targets. You're not going to get Harry Potter. You're not going to get Lord of the Rings. Dear God, you're not going to get Star Wars. You're not going to get Disney. You're not going to get any of that. And it's nice because you can support smaller businesses. The only other, I've had people ask me, you know, um, what other like niches are like that where you can jump right in. To be perfectly honest, books are the only one that I can think of that's that easy, aside from working with like local schools to provide their products for them. Small local schools, like your kids' elementary school, you might be able to do things like that and partner with them. But I think books are it's like it's its own thing, you know?
Yeah, but there's always ways into what you love, and it's finding niches within the niche. I was thinking, as Starla was saying, like her first shop was a really successful shop as well, and it's in what we hear complaints every day. Jewelry is far too oversaturated. Starla didn't go, "Oh, I'm a jewelry shop." Starla went, "I am this type of jewelry shop for this type of person." So you can do anything. And even me, needle felting things, well, I can needle felt anything on the planet. I would love to only needle felt dragons. I love making dragons. However, I was also a dog trainer. I was super into dog training community. I had lots of dog friends, people who own dogs as well as the actual dogs. So that was a community I was in. So it made sense to work on dog breeds because, I'm sitting in that community. These people know me and love me, and I know what's good about dogs, basically.
Yeah. The source matters. Starless Shop is my my competitor on eRank. Feel free to track me. Um, my shop is 2 months old, 10 sales. Starless Shop 3 months old, 7. So we started our shop 3 months ago, but we just listed like 2 weeks ago. So 7 in two or 3 weeks. I'm pretty happy with those
That's
numbers.
really good going. Yep.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And yeah, and the thing about Pam's niche with, dog items, while she might have fun making the dragons, the cool thing about the dogs is that, they could serve as pet memorials, pet Christmas gifts. Um,
They've
a
been
dragon,
their wedding table things. They've been ring
yeah,
bearers for weddings. Yeah, it
right.
fits into bookmarks as well. Yep, it's every niche.
Because like people want to match it to the dog that they own, and it's like it's personalized or custom, but it's not. You know what I mean? Because it's their dog, but you can still sell by breed as well.
Oh,
So
absolutely. Yep.
whereas dragons, that's a little bit more specific. I dare say that more people like dogs than what are into dragons.
That's the people are just silly.
Yeah.
Clearly, I'm sure there's many breeds of dragons, and people should be searching for them.
Well, on that note, thanks for hanging out. Let's see, I've got my link and Pam's Etsy shop link in the chat. If you guys want to snoop us, feel free. Do what we say, not as we do, because
Thank you.
we
Yep.
we run a lot of tests and experiments and weird things in our shops. I'm testing so many keywords and I'm testing keywords that like have no searches at all, but I want to see if like they broad match in a cool way. So yeah. But thanks for hanging out, guys. It was a lot of fun.